Welcome to Century 21 Keim. If you don't know me, I'm Lauren Keim, the CEO of the firm, and I'm hoping to help you to launch a great career in real estate. This is what we call the Quick Start Program. As you've probably been told in your real estate classes, most of those who enter the real estate industry only last 1 to 3 years, then they leave. That's because they don't follow a roadmap from the beginning of their careers. Now, I'm going to do my best to lay out that roadmap for you over the next 90 days. There's a lot to learn. Remember that most of what you learned in your licensing classes really isn't what you need to make you a successful real estate professional. That now becomes my job to help. Today, we're going to look at an overview of the real estate industry and an overview of what you're going to be learning and doing over these next 90 days to jumpstart your career. And again, there's a lot to learn. We're also going to weave in an introduction to some of the high-tech tools that we use to help agents succeed. And then we'll outline what educational programs you'll really need to take and what additional training resources are available to you. You'll be able to work straight through it. And we're going to finish up today by giving you a set of assignments. Why assignments? Because we want you to succeed, and we learn far better by doing than we do by watching. As we mentioned when you first interviewed, Century 21 Keim has a great team of approximately 100 brokers, agents, appraisers, and team members serving all of Eastern Pennsylvania and all of New Jersey. We're also one of the very few firms that has access to 8 different MLS systems, multiple listing systems. Why is that important, you might ask? Because you may be working, for example, in one of our Lehigh Valley offices, and you may have a friend or relative who wants to buy or sell in Philadelphia, or in the Poconos, or at the Jersey Shore. We have access to all those markets, locations to both help you to list and sell property there and to find properties for our potential clients. Century 21, by the way, has the biggest footprint of any brand in the world. And I know everybody claims to be number one, but we're in, I believe, this says 83 countries, but I believe we're now in 86 countries, now with over 14,000 offices worldwide. And in every survey I've ever seen, Century 21 is the brand leader. Number one in brand awareness, the most recognized name, and the one that consumers think of first when they think of real estate. That's a powerful image when you first walk into a home and you're competing to market that property. And here's some of the exact statistics. In fact, most of our competition has a brand awareness that's less than half of ours. Again, very, very powerful. And just so you know, our main offices are strategically located so you can meet with clients. We do have some satellite locations where you can meet with clients as well. The ALLENTOWN marketing facility is located along Cedar Crest Boulevard. It's between I-78 and Route 22, with an exit to the Pennsylvania Turnpike less than a mile away and Route 309 less than a mile away. Great location to meet with clients if you need to. Our largest building is our Bethlehem marketing facility. It's just off Route 22, right between routes 512 and 191. You can get there from either exit. And our main Pocono location is along Route 209 in East Stroudsburg, the gateway to the Poconos. Each office has at least 2 conference rooms where you can meet with clients, and you're absolutely free to meet with clients in any of the offices. Our training and our tools are going to primarily be found in 2 locations. The first one is 21online.com, and I'm going to go through it with you in a few minutes and actually show you the software. And the second one is one that's specific to us, and that's called c21resources.com. And again, I'll step through both of those in a couple of minutes. As we get you started, some of the things I want to talk about are really the training and educational opportunities. It's where we really excel. And this is an outline of what we're going to be doing over the next 90 days. Stage 1 is some live training with Century 21 Corporate. That's very important to get you up and running. Stage 2 is your personal mentor, the in-house training, the person who's going to be with you on some appointments as well. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about some of our advanced training and some of our ongoing training to help you get up and running quickly. Now, Century 21 has the best training available anywhere. There are literally dozens and dozens of different courses available in almost anything you can think of with real estate. There are designations you can earn. There's great programs that you can participate in. There are several of them that I want you to take right away, and we're going to try and get you into these courses as quickly as possible. Now, many of these courses are live, and they're given at different times during the day or during the weeks. So you're going to try and get into the earliest classes you can. So for example, The class on Go List, the listing course that they teach, is a couple of weeks long, but it's only a couple of hours a day, 1 day a week until the class is over. But it gets you to do well with listings very quickly. So I'm going to try and get you into several of these courses very quickly so that you are learning from the best in the industry. And again, these are classes that are live over the web. So you can ask questions, you can raise your hand, you can interact with these instructors, but that instructor might be in King of Prussia or Northern Jersey or Florida, Orlando, LA, Chicago. But you're getting a top person who's helping you to get up and running and started. And those classes are limited in size so that they can interact with you. The classes I want you to start with, and there are many of them, our Go List. That's a program that's focused on listings, bringing in properties for sale. And it's a hands-on instruction to really hone your skills and build your confidence. I want to get you signed up for that as quickly as possible. The second course is called Working with Buyers, the other side of the equation when we're trying to sell real estate, and a buyer pathway to profitability. The third course I want you to take is a short course called Business Planning, and I think it's critical for you to be successful to have a plan, to actually lay out what you want to do. And each person has different goals in life. Some of you may be content with a certain production level. Some of you may need to do a certain level in order to pay your bills. We need to work through that in business planning. And then the fourth one that I want to get you to take is called Accelerate. It's an advanced program that's in 4 training modules. It's a 4-week program that meets in a live classroom format, and they go through how to take your career to the next level, how to really build a business. And in that 4 weeks, the average person takes 5 appointments. And in the 4 weeks after it, the average person takes 10 appointments, nearly doubling their results. So a great program we want to get you in as quickly as possible, and that's called Accelerate. There are lots of other great programs that are offered. There's one on sphere of influence. There's one on farming, working in either a geographic location or a demographic group, trying to build a business with a what we call a farm. There's one just on open houses. There's one on going after expired listings. Those are properties that were on the market with somebody and went off the market because they didn't sell. There's how to own objections, how to really handle objections as they come up in a transaction. There are lots and lots of programs. But again, we're going to start with this live training. And the second stage is your personal mentor. Now, Tim Mahan is going to be one of the mentors in this program, and he's going to be doing 8 sessions of live classes and over Zoom for those of you who can't make it into the classroom. These are going to cover the entire real estate industry, which I'm going to talk about in a few minutes, and bring everything down to how to use our tools in our marketplaces to succeed. If you're anxious early, we have his last 8 sessions recorded. They're on the website www. I think I have it here. There we go. www.c21resources.com. Your manager or your mentor will also go along with you on your first few listing appointments to help you to get that listing. Even if it's a family member in the beginning, it's important to take someone along so everything's done the right way. Often agents will ask me if they can shadow a successful agent constantly. I got to tell you, that would be really quite boring, as most of the business is really making calls, returning calls, and handling paperwork. It's also not typically necessary to have someone come along with you when you're showing a property, because and you might be nervous, but frankly, the client will either like the property or they won't. But on listings or when writing offers, it's important to have your mentor or your manager either go with you or review it with you ahead of time. There are literally dozens of advanced programs we have available then, depending on which way you go in your career. So there's a lot of ongoing training as well. And one last note is that you're going to be hearing from me nearly every other day. I'm going to be emailing you or sending you a video because part of this whole 90-day quick start program is getting you a lot of information quickly. And the second part are assignments that I'm going to be asking you to do and to turn in either to your manager or your onboarding coordinator. Why? Because what gets measured gets done. And frankly, I want you to succeed. And the odds are against you unless you put your all into this new career. By the way, anyone can be successful in real estate. I have seen agents with us go from 0 to over $100,000 in income in 8 or 9 months. But it's what you put into it that makes you successful. What I mean by doing homework includes previewing some properties for sale so you get a feel for the market, reading through and filling out sample contracts so that you understand them much better, and building a market analysis for a few properties so you get strong at pricing quickly. That's what I mean by homework, but you have to do it. And I'm going to give you assignments and we're actually going to follow up. And along the way, to keep you on track, we're going to use something we call the 90-day fitness report to make sure you accomplish everything you need to in order to be successful. There's going to be a lot of stuff to watch. There's going to be some fun stuff to listen to, and there are going to be some assignments to do. But as you're doing all of this, you're getting more and more successful in the business. Now, before I go into an overview of the business, let me step out of this presentation and show you where you sign up for courses. I told you there are a couple of websites that are important. This one's 21 Online. I'll start there. We're going to sign into 21 Online, and usually your login is going to be your first name, period, your last name at century21.com. And once in a while, you might have a name that is common, and you might be john.smith6 at century21.com. But we'll know that ahead of time. If you don't have a password yet, you're going to click Forgot Password, and it's going to email you to your regular email address what your password is. And once you sign in, it's going to look a little bit like, well, it's going to take a second apparently. That might take more than a second. It's going to look a little bit like this. Lots of tools in here. Anything that we subscribe to is in here. And I'm going to start by pulling down this menu over on the right-hand side. And I'm going to come back to some other things. How to market a listing, how to promote yourself, how to work with clients, how to plan your business, and then your productivity hub, learning hub, agent coaching, and so on. I'm going to start by clicking on the learning hub, and then I'm going to show you a couple other things real quickly. Under the learning hub, I want you to click on Visit Century 21 University. And by the way, I want you to do this today after you watch this video. And as you log into this, it's going to show you lots and lots and lots of programs that are available that you can watch or look at. There's even an app that allows you to see what courses are coming up. Now, some of them are at your fingertips. You're going to be able to see your schedule of everything that's coming up in the month of August in this case, and July is already over by the time we did this. Some of the courses that are available cover just about everything you can possibly think of. And they've changed the front of this, so I can't actually see it. Just a second. Well, in this case, since I'm not seeing them, I am going to go to the calendar and see all the courses that are available. Again, you want to sign up for Accelerate, you want to sign up for Go List, and for working with buyers. So you're going to look for when the next one is available and try and make that work. So I'm going to look for those that are business focused or those that are listing focused and try and find the best we can. Now, the other thing that is you are going to find in Century 21 University is lots of courses that are on demand that are already recorded that you can step through. And that's something that you will be able to pull up and look at. Let me go back to a minute to the 21 Online site. I want to click on a second area. This is called Workplace, Workplace by Facebook. Century 21 has its own site under Facebook that works just like Facebook and allows you to log in, find out what's going on, and interact with Century 21 agents all over the world. Get lots of information. You can join different groups. Some of the groups I belong to right now are Century 21 University because I've helped write some of the training. Marketing, Commercial Investment Network, Broker Connect, Go Social, Moxie Works, and some of the others. This happens to be in the news feed, but again, you can look for new agent groups. You can look for almost anything. And join this as quickly as possible. I'm going to come back to this in a little bit. Some of the other tools you're going to find include tools for marketing a listing, social ad engine, which we'll talk about in a future program, syndicating listings, something called the golden ruler, which allows us to stay in touch with our clients. We have unique property sites that we put together. A great service called Toolkit CMA that allows us to build beautiful presentations very quickly. Business Builder, which I'm going to be talking about later on today, and even a program called Zap that allows us to build websites. Lots of great tools are available in here, and I'll come back to that. Now, the second site I wanted to mention is, again, C21 Resources, and this is what it looks like. This is our site, and as you log into it or as you get onto the site, it does give you an intro video on joining Century 21 and some of the tools that are available. And then it has a lot of downloads on the first page. Sales Associate Onboarding Guidebook, which I think you should download immediately and take a look at. It's about 80 pages, but it helps you to refer back to everything that you need for Century 21. Our onboarding checklist, and then again, the Century 21 University classes are located here. You'll be able to go through them. And up here under training, you'll see our training guide is here as well. It gives you who to reach out to in your different offices, gives you our training schedule, and then again, lots of videos to watch. This happens to be Tim Mahan's initial training program the last time it was recorded, so that you can watch through that if you want to start a little bit early and get a handle on it earlier, and lots of other training programs that we've got. So these are some of the tools that we have to try and help you to be successful as quickly as humanly possible. Now, I want to look at the real estate business and give you a quick overview and how we're going to help you to succeed in each area. Let's start with the first part, which is the fact that, well, let me start by explaining that in all real estate transactions, whether they're residential or commercial, they begin with a buyer and a seller, or a landlord and a tenant. And we have two sides to every transaction. We've got the seller side, the listing side, and we have the buyer side. And on the seller side, one of the first things we have to deal with is prospecting, finding clients. We have prospecting, presentation, and providing service. On the buyer side, we have handling incoming calls, presentation, and then showing techniques. And then we also have this kind of goes between both of them, writing offers, negotiating, and processing a transaction. Too many brokers tell you that if you just affiliate with them, money will rain from the sky. But let's be honest. Every firm has an agent or a few agents or a bunch of agents that are making several $100,000s a year. And every firm has agents that haven't had a sale in the last 3 years. The difference is the individual, not the company. The brand helps to give you education and tools. The brand helps to pre-sell you when you meet clients for the first time. But the majority of business always comes from the individual agent, no matter what anyone does. And any broker who tells you something different is not being honest with you. The number one reason that any real estate professional fails is their failure to prospect. And prospecting is the first job of any successful realtor. But where does business come from? One of my favorite questions from new agents is, where can I get more leads? Well, we'll discuss many lead generating systems over the next 90 days. And there are quite a few of them. The reality is that every study you'll ever see on real estate agents shows that over 2/3 of all sales are made to people who already like and trust you. All the work in the world you put into it is going to deliver less than 1/3 of the business that most agents do. In other words, those people that are in your sphere of influence, your social network, those who will become your past clients, and referrals from those people, referrals from your friends and your relatives and your sphere of influence, your prior coworkers and your past clients, make up about 67% of any agent's business. So we've got to look at that as one of the first targets to try and help you to be successful and build a business. In the beginning of your real estate career, unless you're independently wealthy, you've got to need to find clients who need to buy, sell, or lease right now. You're never going to make a lot of money sitting around waiting for the phone to ring. It doesn't matter what firm you're with. We've had agents start their careers by sitting down and calling every property owner in a neighborhood, and they've done very well. It really does work. But it's far easier to start with those people who already know you, already like and trust you. You know 100 people that you interact with on a semi-regular basis. You might think you don't, but you do. And I'll explain that in a minute. About 10 to 12 of them will move this year, and half of them will buy and sell. That means people who you know will be responsible for somewhere between 15 and 18 sales this year. That's people that you know right now that you're in contact with. If you capture 10 of those sales, and if your average selling price was 250,000 in your marketplace, you'd earn about $50,000 this year just from the people that you already know. And they won't remember that you sell real estate unless you continually remind them. Let me give you an example. Do you know where each of your best friends from high school is currently working? You probably don't. And do you know what each of your nieces and nephews are doing for a career, if you're old enough to have nieces and nephews that are working? They don't know what you're doing either, and they will forget. So we've got to create a system to remind them that you're in real estate. Now, this is called a memory jogger list. We have a lot of fun with these. The one I'm going to provide you is a bit longer, but I want you to start compiling a list of everyone you know. And it's important to do this before doing anything else. Start compiling a list of everybody you know that you have or had a relationship with. Of course, all your relatives. And let's add in your former coworkers and your friends from high school and college. Now think maybe about the chiropractor you see regularly. What about your kids' teachers? What about your doctor, your dentist? Do you have a Mary Kay rep? The memory jogger list has some funny things on it, but the idea is to help you to identify people that you might not have thought of and start putting that list together. And over the next 2 weeks, we're going to go through a process to show everyone that you know that you're successful actually before you are. The problem is that they all know someone who tried out real estate for a while, and they may be afraid to give you their most valuable asset. They may tell you that they don't want to hurt their friendship, or they may tell you that they don't want anyone to know their finances. But the reality is they don't want to entrust their most valuable asset to somebody who's new. So we need to show them that you're successful before you are. And by the way, we've got a system for that. And we're going to be going through that over the next 10 days. So one of the items I'm going to ask you to do this week is to go into 21 Online and click on the Productivity Hub in 21 Online, and then click on Business Builder. Now we're transitioning as I record this to a new contact management platform called MoxieWorks, which is really, really powerful, but it doesn't get up and running for us for another 30 days. If Moxie is running by the time you get started with us, then you'll enter each person directly into Moxie. If not, I want you to add them into Business Builder because it will automatically port over to Moxie. The goal is to get everybody you know, all your friends and relatives and contacts, into a system that at least reminds them that you're in the business in a non-threatening way. You can immediately put them on a cute and fun monthly e-greeting, or you can put them on an informative e-newsletter. Again, this isn't bothering them. It's just subtly reminding them that you're in the business. It's a simple way to keep them knowing that you're out there and that you need their help. And again, we're going to lay out a more comprehensive plan that's going to be a little bit more fun for your social network over the next 2 weeks. But let's start with this. Now that I talked about prospecting, the second part of working with sellers on the listing side is doing a presentation. And that presentation includes handling objections and pricing the property properly. We're going to spend a lot of time going through the best approaches to doing a full presentation. We want to make sure that you're successful in listing the property every time and that you price it correctly so that it sells and so that you look good. And we've got a great system for doing that. Keep in mind, though, every property owner thinks their property is better than every other owner's property. And we'll go into that as well. So you have to be able to handle objections. Why can't I list my property for $50,000 more than it's worth? Or why can't I list with this other agent who said they're going to have half the commission? Lots of things you may have to do to handle those objections. Prospecting presentation, we're down to providing exceptional service. We have some tools that are going to help you, including a tool in the 21 Online site called Golden Ruler that tracks how many times your listing comes up on searches on all the major sites, how many people clicked for a detailed view, and how many people clicked for more information. But the real key is to call your clients regularly. Don't abandon them. Provide feedback on showings, and we've got a system to do that. We subscribe to something called Showing Time that bugs realtors that showed your property to ask them for feedback. But try and get that feedback and provide that to your customers. That helps to set you apart from the competition, and ultimately, those clients are then going to refer you more business, which is how your career expands over time. Service includes maintaining that ongoing communication until the property is sold and providing feedback from potential buyers and tenants to the property. And by the way, we do some things that are a little bit better, I think, than the competition. One of them is we build a unique property website for every listing we take. And that unique property website has all the tools to share it by social media. And by the way, your friends and relatives and clients will share those websites as well, bringing possible leads back to you, but you have to get them out in front of them. We also do a slideshow on every listing, and we put that onto YouTube. It has, we subscribe to a company called Paradigm that takes the photos of the property, pans them as if they're video, does some nice transitions between them, does a voiceover, puts your contact information on it, and uploads it to YouTube. And again, you share that with your clients to show them what you're doing differently than other agents. And hopefully they will share that to their social media, again, putting you out there in the public. Now, the buyer side, we're going to spend a lot of time explaining how to convert incoming leads. You will get some calls, but the reality is that the average agent only converts 4% of them to work with you. And we know over 60% of those who call end up buying a property within a year. So we need to improve those odds. The presentation isn't quite as formal for buyers. You're going to explain why it's not really a good idea to work with 10 agents at the same time. And you're also going to lay out the buying process for them so they understand it. You're unlikely to ever qualify a client, as you're going to pass that duty to a mortgage officer who's going to help them to find the best program for their situation. Now remember, your goal when someone calls into the office is to either identify and find, or I shouldn't say it this way, your goal is either to identify and find prospective buyers or to handle those incoming inquiries and convert them to buyers who will work with you to find the perfect property. It's not very often that somebody buys the property they call on. We're not just advertising to try and get somebody to call and buy that specific property. Your goal is to try and identify potential clients so you can keep following up with them and following up with them until they actually buy something. Get them information, get them listings. We're going to put them on automated listing searches to try and keep listings in front of them and help them to find the right property. And again, a buyer presentation may include pre-qualifying, but it's going to be pre-qualified by the mortgage person. But you also want to try and determine if their wants and needs are in line with their ability to finance. There's not much worse than wasting a few weeks of time finding the perfect property for a client, only to discover that that client can't really afford the price range. So a presentation to a buyer also has to include a discussion of buyer agency and why you representing that buyer is in the best interest of the client. And finally, we're going to go through writing an offer using a software program called Zip Forms and how to present that offer, how to negotiate it, how to coordinate inspections and settlement. One thing that I get asked early and I get asked often is how do we succeed and grow our income in real estate? There are really only two ways to grow your income quickly. One is to generate more leads, and there are ways to do it. And we're going to be going through some prospecting systems. Although again, I want you to start with your sphere of influence, your social network. The other option is to convert a greater percentage of the prospects that do contact you into working with you. Do a better job presenting yourself than the competition. And we're going to work in both of those areas. There are really only three ways to generate possible prospects, people who need to buy or sell. One is being proactive, and that's making phone calls, knocking on doors, calling properties that are expired, calling for sale by owners, and so on. And by the way, phone calls don't necessarily have to be cold calling. Phone calls can be to your sphere of influence, your social network, those people who already like and trust you. Start building that word of mouth campaign. The second way that some agents make money is to buy business, buy Zillow leads. Zillow is very, very expensive. But the concept is that they sell leads that come in. If somebody looks at a property on Zillow and your face is next to that property and they click on it to call you, that lead will never go to you because Zillow is going to sell that lead to the highest bidder. It's unfortunate, but it's the way the world works. So paying Zillow for leads is one way to pay for business. There's Realtor.com has a group called OpCity that's part of them. They charge referral fees for leads. You can also pay to mail things or to market online. There are a lot of agents who spend a lot of money trying to generate business. The third way is to build strong relationships. It takes longer to make money this way, but it's the best way to build a business long term. Provide excellent service. You've got to stay in front of them on social media. You have to use some techniques to stay in front of them on a long, ongoing basis and do some social networking. but everybody's different. Some people are very comfortable making phone calls to strangers and make a lot of money doing it. And some people are perfectly okay paying large sums of money for leads. But most of us work very hard to try and generate relationships and build on those relationships and build a business based on them. Once we have a lead, every lead we speak to, we want to then enter them into our contact management system. Right now, that is Business Builder, but in the long run, it's going to be MoxieWorks, and we're going to stay in constant communication with them. We want to move them from lead to prospect to customer, who eventually buys and sells with us. And once we help them through the process, very often they're going to refer us their friends and their relatives. So our whole goal is to get them into this funnel, into this system, to try and help them the best we can so that they help us with more business over time. Some of the tools we're going to be going through over the next 90 days, as I said, include the courses at Central 21 University. Workplace by Facebook has a lot of great stuff in it. Business Builder is a contact management software program. MoxieWorks we're going to be using for our websites and for a back-end system for some of our marketing. We've got Zap websites. Zip Forms is the program that helps us to put together agreements of sale and listing contracts. We have Toolkit CMA, which helps us to put together presentations and written or printed materials for our clients based on their property. Lead Router is a system that gets us leads very quickly, and there are many, many more. So there's a lot to learn as you get started, a lot of different tools we have to go through, and a lot of systems to try and make you successful. So what am I looking for next? I want you to do several things, and some of them are going to take a little bit of time. You're going to get a 90-day fitness report from your manager. If you don't have one already, ask them for it. A copy of the 90-day fitness report. We're going to check off things as we get them done over the first 3 months. Then I want you to log into 21 Online for the first time, and I want you to join Workplace by Facebook. There's no cost to that. I then want you to go into Business Builder, or if we have MoxieWorks up and running by that point, and add a minimum of 10 contacts from your social network, people that already like and trust you. Again, you can enter these people individually, or you can import them. I want you to get as many people in as you can, but start with 10 this week and put them on at least the holiday greetings. They're a lot of fun, or the e-newsletter. Then I want you to go to Central 21 University. I know there's a lot of stuff here. I want you to sign up for the courses that we talked about. Go List, Working with Buyers, and Business Planning. If you're ambitious, you can also sign up for maybe a month from now, the course Accelerate. So try and plan that into your schedule going forward. And then I want you to set up 5 showings in the next week. I want you to schedule them as previews so you start getting used to knowing the market. It's so much easier to talk to clients if you actually see what's out in the marketplace. So schedule some showings, go out and take a look at them. Just tell them that you're previewing the showing for the house for possible buyers, and take a walk through and start getting a feel for the prices in the marketplace and what's good or bad about any particular listing, and write down which ones you look at. And remember, when you're setting up showings, you're going to call the office, not the agent, to set up the showing. So look it up in the multi-list, and you're going to call the office. We'll go through how to use showing time to do that. Then I'd like you to go to c21resources.com, check out the videos, and just get used to seeing what's there. And all of this, you should sign off with the person who's onboarding you. All of this is going to be on your 90-day fitness report. And I'd like you to do each part of it and then have your manager or your onboarding person check off and sign off that you've done them, so that we can move on to Quick Start 2 in just a few days. Look forward to working with you. And again, welcome to the firm. Let's start your journey to become a real superstar.